Check 1, 2. Mr. Chair, we can start at any time now. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, members of the panel, in accordance with Section 43 and 53 of the Planning Act as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Larry Swartz. I'm the chair today. And with me on my right, Mr. Auspitz, Mr. Reed on my left, Ms. Martin, Mr. Allison, panel members. Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of zoning that apply to property and considers permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses and considers consent to sever property to create new lots. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. This meeting is conducted in a hybrid format. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx and online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connected with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone, and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will also be visible during your 5 minutes allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances, to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies, as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. In terms of the hearing procedure, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. In terms of making your submissions, where the application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant, agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5 minutes. Any presentation or other materials you may wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then, individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant, agent, has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. That will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Those are the introductory remarks. Now, we are looking for confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Our first minutes to adopt is October 26, 2023, and the sitting members were Mr. Swartz and Mr. Allison. If I could have a motion to approve those minutes from either Mr. Swartz or Mr. Allison.
I will motion to approve the minutes for October 26, 2023.
And a seconder.
Okay, seconder, Ms. Martin. Those in favor? Carried.
Next set of minutes is November 23, 2023. The sitting members were Mr. Allison and Mr. Auspitz. If I could motion to approve those minutes, please.
Mr. Auspitz, is that a motion by you? Yes, thank you. A seconder?
I would like to motion to approve.
And a seconder, please.
Okay. Seconder, Mr. Allison. Those in favor? Approved.
Thank you. And the last set of minutes is December 7th, 2023. And the sitting members were Mr. Swartz, Mr. Auspitz, and Mr. Allison.
Motion to approve, please.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Allison. Seconder. Ms. Martin. Those in favor? Approved. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest of panel or staff for any of the items on the agenda? Okay, seeing no declarations of interest, move on to deferral requests. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we move on to deferrals, I'd like to introduce a motion, please, for the panel to vote and consider. And the motion is that the North York panel of the Committee of Adjustment does not excuse any member absences from the January 18, 2024 Committee of Adjustment meeting.
I'll motion to approve.
Mr. Allison, seconder? Mr. Reed?
Second, thank you.
Those in favor?
Sorry, can I, who seconded that one? Thank you.
Those in favor? Approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, any other motions today, or should we move on to the deferral requests?
Normally, we would consider any files to be closed, but there are no files to be closed today.
So in terms of deferral requests, there are none?
There is one in the morning. It was a late request. It's item number 11.
Okay.
Just hold on. The numbering is a bit off, so we'll introduce it by address. It's 3177, 3179 Bathurst Street.
Okay.
All right, on the line. Can I just confirm if the applicant is on the line?
So we have a person online who wishes to address that.
Correct. We'll unmute this person now.
All right. You've unmuted him. All right.
Good morning, committee.
So would you please state your name?
Yeah, Jonathan Binskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Thank you. Yeah. So go ahead. It's your request for deferral, correct?
Yes, we've been going back with planning about a year on this project. We just received some late comments regarding a road widening that we believe we had dealt with. Nonetheless, planning is requesting a deferral to deal with a road widening. Not to go too deep into the planning history, but this is not a new development. This is a renovation of an existing building. And I believe when transportation looked at this through the comment and review portion, they interpreted it as a new building. Because this is a renovation of a building, there is no road widening that can be taken from the property under the official plan. So I do believe it is just some confusion. I would also just like to note, there is no objection to the proposal from planning or from transportation at this time. I believe we just have to clear up what the actual proposal is before the committee today and have those comments revised to remove the requirement for site plan approval as per the road widening is not required.
Okay. So that's good enough. Let's go into committee. Do we have a motion on this deferral?
Mr. Chair, just want to pause that for a second. There's a number of speakers online that want to speak to this.
Against the deferral? Oh,
Yes. They're going to speak to the deferral. So we need to hear from everybody who has
all right.
registered to speak on the
Thank you,
deferral.
Thank you. Okay. Who are the other speakers?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm unmuting Jerry Shendell.
Oh, all right. Okay.
My name is Jerry Shendell. I live at 738 Woburn Avenue. And we have put together an email with concerns from various residents. Sorry about that. We have various residents who live on Woburn Street, and their names are all listed in the email, as well as the concerns that we have, which have been mailed in accordingly.
So hold on. I just want to confirm before you keep going here. We got.
Sure.
Did you say your name was Jerry Shendell? Is that your name?
My name is Jerry Shendell, and I'm at 738 Woburn Avenue.
Okay. So, Mr. Shendell, just so that you know, we're only dealing with the issue of deferral. Now, that's the motion on the floor. So the applicant has said that he's willing to defer it. In other words, it won't proceed today. Unless you have an objection to that, that's really
No.
what we're dealing with. Okay, so you don't have
If
to
it's-
talk to the
if it's
merits
the-
whether you don't like it or like it. But you don't have an objection to the
Right.
deferral, right?
No.
Okay. So that's really all we need to know.
So-
This,
So do I still have to?
you still
I
get,
still
you
have
still
to
have
stay
your
on?
opportunity to, if the application comes back, so today, right now, we're dealing with a deferral. If we defer it, we'll just defer it. It may come back again in the current form or different form, then you'll get your say. But right now, if you don't object to deferral, then that's really all we need to know.
Okay. then I can log off then.
Okay. Thank you. Who
Thank
else?
you.
Thank you so much. Who else do we have from the public who would like to address the,
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe I have unmuted Anthony Wolf.
okay. So, sir, would you please state your name and your address?
You've actually unmuted Anthony Abate. You got the wrong Anthony.
Apologies, I'll unmute them. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm now unmuting Lily Greenspoon.
Okay. Hello, madam? Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. So please state your name and your address.
Sure. Lily Greenstone at 748 Woburn Avenue.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll give you time to talk, but again, this is just to deal with the deferral. You don't have to talk about whether you like or dislike the application. The applicant is willing not to have it heard today. So really, it's talking about whether you object to, you want it to be heard or not, or not heard. And I take it there are no objections to it, but go ahead and state your position, please.
Yeah, my question is, what is a legit reason to not to defer and not to defer? In terms of road widening, I think that would be actually needed for this project to make sense for the area. So, I mean, in terms of deferral, yeah, we can do it at a later time. But I just wonder if the arguments that, myself and my neighbors have would even make that even necessary if the concerns are so grave, which they are.
Well, if the purpose of deferral is so we hear it another time. The idea of hearing it another time gives you and the applicant a chance to discuss the issues and maybe resolve the issues so that there's not, contention, so that there's an agreement. So it actually works in your favor to try to get those issues that you're concerned about resolved. If we hear it today, I mean, we can hear it today, but it may not resolve your issues. So the idea is to get them resolved without having to have them before the panel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess my wondering is just how does the city view this? And is there an even need for further conversation about it? If, for example, you guys agree with the points that myself and the neighbors have. But no, okay, we can defer it, no problem.
Okay.
It would have been
Perfect.
helpful to know your thoughts and views.
Yeah, we're just, we make the decisions. We don't speak for the city. So you have to take that up with the city. But thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, Mr. Secretary, Deputy Secretary Treasurer, any other members of the public that wish?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no other registered speakers for this
Okay.
item.
All right. So, given that, let's move into committee. Do we have a motion? Any panel member wish to bring a motion on this matter for deferral? Mr. Chief.
Mr. Chair, I will motion for deferral. I think the applicant would benefit from some additional time just to clear up some of the outstanding items that were brought up, specifically with respect to site plan approval.
Thank you. Motion, Mr. Allison. Seconder, Mr.
Second.
Reed. Those in favor? Approved. Thank you. Okay. So on to the next matter, which was motions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that's it for deferrals for the morning. We can move to our regular agenda at this point.
So so there's no files to be closed, no further motions. Move on to our agenda. Thank you. Okay. So just a moment as I pull up the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So today we have 3 related consents and 8 related minor variances. We have the applicant online, and they can be dealt with en masse. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So just to introduce those are items 1, 2, and 3 on our agenda. They deal with 9 Carheart Street, parts 1, 2, 3, 11 Carheart Street, that's part 4, 5, 6, and 7, and also with 15 Carheart Street, parts 8, 9, and 10. So these are all to obtain consent to sever the property. First, for 9, it's into 3 undersized parts. For 11, it's into 4 undersized parts. And for 15, it's into 3 undersized parts. There are no variances on these applications. For us, we have.
There are 8 related minor variances.
There are 8 minor variances? Sorry, thank you for the correction. So there are 8 minor variances, and we have before us a number of reports, including ECS reports for the properties. We have letters of support, a letter of support for the properties each, and we have staff report for each of the properties. All right, so we have a
Through you, Mr. Chair, there's also a forestry
forestry
memo as well.
So we have the applicant. The applicant is Glenn Rubinoff.
Mr. Rubinoff, we'll see if Mr. Rubinoff is online.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rubinoff, please
Yes.
state your name.
Good morning.
Yes, please state your address and please make your presentation.
Good morning. It's Glenn Rubinoff from Rubinoff Design Group, 18 Gloucester Lane, Toronto, Ontario. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for all of the introductions. This is an amalgamation of a site, 3 properties to create 8 semi-detached dwellings. This has been an ongoing discussion with Planning Department to ensure that we meet their requests, and we worked with planning. We've actually have a history on the street with having completed the properties across the road. Also an amalgamation from 3 lots into multiple units there, 3 pairs of semis and a single home. We are next to a townhouse development on Marquette, which was developed previously by another firm. We've also been involved with some lot severances and redevelopment of properties across on Marquette itself, 21 A and B, 27 A and B, and 35 A and B. So we're very familiar with the site, with the conditions. Planning has reviewed this and has no concerns with regards to the consent or the minor variance request. We are very conscious of the standards, community standards in this area. This is a site which is adjacent to the 401. It's also a kind of an end of block situation. It's a short street, Carheart, so pretty much the consistency of the pattern just kind of fills that gap by completing the circle, so to speak. The properties, homes themselves are fairly consistent in the pattern of redevelopment in the area. Rather than go into the individual variances, I know that staff reviewed this and doesn't have concerns with regards to setback variances, heights, and density and such. And we do have support from the neighbor. We also forest conditions of application. We minimize the number of trees that are impacted with this application to try to preserve as many as possible on this site. And we feel that this is a minor application and meets the 4 tests. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? I take it there are not.
Well, while we have the applicant online, or can we see if any of the panel members have any questions of the applicant?
No questions from anyone?
Okay, let me double check to see if we have anybody online.
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no other speakers for this item.
Thank you. All right, we'll go into committee. Do we have a motion from any panel member?
I could put forward a motion.
Yes, Mr. Auspitz.
Okay. So I'd like to approve, I motion to approve the consent application noted in item 1, as well as the 3 minor variance applications noted in item 1, subject to conditions of community planning engineering and construction services, and forestry. I'd like to motion to approve the consent application noted in item 2, as well as the the two minor variance applications noted in item 2, subject to conditions of community planning, engineering, forestry. I'd like to motion to approve the consent application noted in item 3, as well as the 3 minor variance applications noted in item 3, subject to the conditions of community planning and transportation. I note that forestry does not have any conditions with respect to this application. The reason being is I believe the applications meet the 4 tests for a minor variance. It would allow for compatible development, particularly one related to the development across the street, and it would contribute to several new, I guess, I'm going to say, it would contribute to new housing within the built-up area.
Thank you. We have a seconder for that. Ms. Martin. Any debate by panel members? Discussion? All those in favor? It's approved. Thank you. Next matter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll move on to item number 4.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is another consent at 84 points.
Okay, thank you. So this is a consent to sever property into 2 undersized residential lots to construct 2 new dwellings, each with a secondary suite. We have on file an ECS report, forestry report, heritage report. We have a letter of objection. We have a ravine report. We have speakers. The applicant, owners, Lambro, Bakharov, Christina Bakharov. Anybody else to speak to this?
Just before we move on, just want to note also there was a late email from community planning.
Late email from community planning. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go to our speakers. Please introduce yourself and your address. The applicant, please.
Yeah, I would like to defer to Christina Bakharov to speak.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Committee of Adjustment. My name is Christina, and I'm the owner of 84 POYNTZ Avenue in North York. I'm respectfully requesting minor variances to the property, as well as a consent to sever. The reason for severance is so that I have a home and my sister and her family have the other home, and for our families to continue to grow up together. For context, looking at a map, 84 POYNTZ is located 2 blocks from Yonge Street and 2 blocks from Shepherd Avenue. Yonge and Shepherd, as you know, is a busy intersection with commercial buildings and high-rise condominiums. As you venture further away from the intersection, you find single-family homes. And I would propose that 84 POYNTZ is therefore in a transitional area between these large buildings and single-family homes, where the proposed application for 2 smaller homes is reasonable and appropriate. For further context, 84 POYNTZ sits on lots 794 and 795. The original plan of subdivision has 2 lots here. I understand there's a deeming bylaw in place, and that is the reason for the application before you today. I raise this simply to note that 2 lots are originally envisioned here. With respect to the planning considerations and the application before you, Transportation and City Planning have reviewed and have no comments or concerns with the consent to sever and minor variances. We are happy to meet any standard consent conditions attached from the various stakeholder city departments and from the committee, if any. With respect to the minor variances, we feel they are suitable for 2 smaller homes and that none of the variances create a new precedent for the neighborhood. For example, as it currently sits, 84 POYNTZ is less than 0.6 meters to the property line, or 1.2 meters from its next door neighbor, 88 POYNTZ. And this is the case for a number of properties in the area, such as 121 and 123 POYNTZ Avenue, which are only 0.3 meters to the property line each. As mentioned, this is a transitional neighborhood and these minor variances are common. These minor variances were also discussed with city planning, which agreed that they are minor in nature and do not create a precedent, and hence their response that they have no concerns. I propose that the four-part test for minor variance is met in this case. Moving on, I note that the deadline for submissions was January 11th. There are some documents that came in on January 11th or afterwards, and therefore we've not had a chance to address them in submissions, so I'd like to address them now. There are 3 trees in the front yard that urban forestry is looking to protect. We note that there are 9 trees on the property total, and the majority are untouched. In any case, we are more than happy to move the driveway instead and save all trees, including the 3 at issue. We propose that a condition be added to the consent if this is a concern, that we save all 3 trees to the satisfaction of urban forestry. Finally, in reaching out to neighbors, it is my understanding that the neighbors are all supportive of severance. At this time, there are letters that came in within the past day or 2 that support severance, but not the addition of a secondary suite within each house. We feel that the additional suites are appropriate in the context of a high-density neighborhood like Shepherd and Yonge. We offer that the secondary suites are minor, reasonable, and also sustainable additions to this neighborhood. We also propose that they're in line and support the strong public policy initiative of increasing housing in Toronto. In any case, if there is a legitimate concern with secondary suites, we are more than open to removing the secondary suites in these homes and accommodating our neighbors' request, and in that case, leaving them simply as single-family homes. If that's the case, we propose that this be made a condition that we will meet. In conclusion, we propose that the application meets the test for minor variance, and the request for consent to sever supports the strong public policy initiative of increasing housing in Toronto and is in line with Ontario's goal of building 1.5 million homes by 2031. We respectfully ask you to grant this application for minor variance and consent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers, questions? Well, actually, questions from the panel? No.
I have some concerns with respect to the driveway, and I'm just, while I think these can be mitigated, my concern is whether it's premature to make a decision now, given that it requires a substantial alteration. And if we do issue a decision, I'm wondering, if we do issue a decision that's in favor of the application, I'm just wondering what we can use in order to ensure that the trees that were identified by forestry are protected, because we can't tie it to a site plan. And I will say my concern is if we do grant the consent here, that it may conflict with the ability to save those trees. It may require something additional. So, I mean, those are my concerns. Otherwise, I don't have any other issues with the application, but with respect to the driveway, it is a
questions for
concern.
the applicant, though?
I don't have any
Sure,
questions.
could I
She's acknowledged.
respond?
Sure. Madam applicant.
Thank you
go
so
ahead.
much for. Thank you so much. I appreciate your comments and substantially agree with you in terms of the request today. We actually have a revised site plan. It's just that when asking to submit it, we were told that it's past the January 11th deadline, and the letter from forestry came in on January 11th.
Would I might put this forward to the applicant, but would it may be in your interest to defer the application such that we can have that site plan submitted and part of the file, and perhaps address some of the concerns from forestry and allow them to respond.
Before we go down that path, could you restate the types of trees that are proposed to be removed?
I believe one is a Norwood, and they are included in the forestry documentation. I would need to pull that up.
Sorry, the forestry memorandum does state Norway maple, so they're both Norway maple.
And staff are pulling up the images for us.
Thank you. Again, we do note there are 9 trees total. These 3 are at issue, so a minority of the trees on the property. And if there is a legitimate and real concern, we have a revised site plan and would be open to deferral if that were in the best interest of this application.
Hi.
Yes,
I just want to say, can we not put in a condition on that they get approval from urban forestry and engineering and construction services? No?
At this point, I wouldn't
Thank you,
recommend it.
Madam.
At this point, I wouldn't
We do
recommend it
have
because we don't know
approval.
we don't know what's before them. I think it's prudent to allow, if there is a revised plan, to consider
Okay.
what the applicant has said they might agree to as a deferral to allow forestry to re-review the site plan. It sounds like in good faith, the owner applicant here is willing to save the trees, but we have no documentation at this point formally that this is what they want to do, nor do we have updated comments from forestry. So I'll leave this final decision in committee's hands.
Mr. Reed, did you have a question? No question. All right. Madam applicant, you said you had no objection to a deferral. Is that correct?
I would just like to address the last comment. We do have a report from engineering, and they have no concerns apart from some standard conditions, which we would be happy to meet. Again, with respect to forestry, this is a minority of the trees. Ideally, we would move for a consent to sever today, but if it's in the best interest of the application, then I am open to a deferral and willing to move forward with the revised site plan that we have, saving all 3 trees.
Okay. All right. So unless there's any other questions from the panel members, I'd like to go into committee. All right. So we're in committee now. Do we have a motion by anybody at this stage? Yes, Mr. Reed, motion.
Thanks, Chair. I think it's reasonable to consider deferral given this fact that the site plan is shifting. I think as other members have said that.
Let's see if we have a seconder for it, and then you can talk to it.
Okay.
Any seconder on that?
Given that I raised the issue, I will second.
Okay.
I will second.
Go ahead, Mr. Reed, if you'd like.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just a couple comments. And I think most of us probably don't have an issue with the built form that's being proposed, apart from the trees. I think that's the main thing. And while we could potentially just include a forestry report, I think that it's better to have this kind of come before the committee again, and particularly because some of the variances may change with a revised site plan. So I think it's prudent to defer at this point.
Okay, so we have the motion, Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Allison. In terms of procedure, we've already heard from the applicant on the issue of deferral, so I don't think we need to break from committee to go back to hear the applicant again. We have a motion on the floor. Are any other comments on it from the other panel members, or can we go forward with a vote on it? No comments? Okay, so those in favor of this motion? It's approved. Thank you. The matter is deferred, and we're on to item number 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next item is number 5, 58 Bunty Lane.
Item number 5, let me just confirm that I have this. Yes, 58 Bunty Lane. There's a proposal to construct a 2-story front addition to the existing 1-story dwelling. There's a letter of support, there's a transportation report, there's requested variances, including side yard setback, front yard setback, lot coverage, parking space width. This is item 5. We have a few speakers on this, 2 speakers. Who is the first speaker on this? Do we have an order for speakers? Because I see Jason Kiefer, I think, is the Kiefer. Sorry if I get anybody's. This goes for everybody who's listening in. I may not get your pronunciation right. Please correct me. So Jason Kiefer, first speaker, please. Please state your name and your address, and we can't hear you. You're
Good
muffled.
morning,
There we go.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Jason Kiefer. I'm at 496 St. James Street, London, Ontario. And I'm representing homeowners Gordon and Evelyn Pye for 58 Bundy Lane. So our proposal here, we're planning on a rebuild of the front portion of the existing split level dwelling. So we want to build up 2 stories there and maintain the existing setbacks of the building, the north and south side yard setbacks, as well as the front yard setback. So we don't want to make any changes there. We're just trying to work within the existing footprint of the building. We're over on the lot coverage due to the carport by about 6%, which yeah, it's I believe that this wouldn't have been included when the building was originally constructed. So but yeah, that is an existing carport, and we want to maintain that carport as the whole roof of the building is being rebuilt at once. The last item, number 5, is no longer applicable. We had a concrete landing just from the side door there in the car space area, which has been removed. So now we're at a more like a 4-meter width for the parking space. Yeah, I believe that these are all minor variances, and this is a reasonable thing to ask for approval from the committee. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, before we bring on the next speaker, can I verify, and apologies, we should be asking this before we get into the evidence, if there were any changes made to the application? It sounds like the applicant has made a change. If I can just have the applicant verify the variance number, that would be helpful.
Thank you. So applicant, would you please verify the variance number and what's happened in the changes? If you could, please.
Sure, that was variance number 5. The width of the parking space is, we now have a width that is sufficient.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just want to confirm the applicant is removing variance 5?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Panel members, any questions to the applicant?
Just want to confirm I understand the drawings correctly. So the intent is here, the intensification is on top of the existing building. So there's actually no changes to the footprint, but the reason that the variance for the lot coverage was triggered is because of the canopy proposed over the existing carport, or I think you mentioned it may be existing, and that because it's being replaced in its current form, it would trigger that variance. Did you just clarify that for us?
Oh, I think you summed that up correctly. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So we have another presenter. It's Marilyn Flanagan. Are you present? Please join.
Thanks very much. Hi, and thank you for allowing me to participate. The only reason that I'm here, I happen to be standing in front of 58 Bunty Lane right now because I live around the corner. So I was sent a notification about the variance, and I always find the Committee of Adjustment meetings very informative about what's happening in the neighborhood.
Mr. Chair, can I just interrupt for a quick second? We need her name and address.
Yeah, sorry.
Marilyn. My name's Marilyn Flanagan, 50 Palomino Crescent.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Which is the street behind Bunty Lane. So I think I was just sent this because I live in the neighborhood or something like that. But if they're just building up, an additional story, on top of their existing house, and they're not really, doing anything. I'm not even sure really why we got invited. I thought maybe it was something more dramatic, and that's why they were telling the neighbors. But they're putting 2 stories. Is that on top of the 1 story? So it'll be 3 stories, or that's 2 in total?
Mr. Chair, the applicant can respond to that question.
Mr. Applicant?
Well, why don't we give her 5 minutes, and then afterwards the applicant can respond to all of her questions. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. So,
I
Madam,
see.
do you
Great.
have any
Okay.
other
Thanks.
questions
So the first
besides?
question is just really like,
Sorry.
just
Any
that
other questions of the applicant?
is this for? Oh, are you speaking to me, Marilyn Flanagan? Or?
Mr. Chair, why don't we let her finish
My
her
other question
5-minute
is-
presentation?
Oh, my other question was simply: is this going to be owner occupied, or this is meant to be additional living space to be rented out?
So are those your 2 questions, madam? Are there any
Yes,
other
thank you.
questions that you have? Thank you so much for attending.
No.
We'll turn it back to the applicant. You've heard the questions from the presenter.
Can we ask, sorry, Mr. Chair, can we ask if any of the members have a question of the neighbor before we turn it back to the applicant?
Any questions of the panel, of the member? Thank you. So let's go back to the applicant. Mr. Applicant, you've heard the 2 questions from the member of the public who's made the presentation. How do you answer those, please?
Yeah, thanks for your questions, Marilyn. We're proposing 2 stories, not 3 stories. So it's that's the answer to your first question there. And as for the second, regarding rental, this is not a rental property, it's a single family dwelling. So just the owners will be occupying the building as they are now.
Right, thank you so much. So we'll go over to the panel now, unless I take it there's no further questions of anyone, so let's go into committee. Committee panel members.
I would like to motion to approve. The proposed dwelling is appropriately designed, doesn't seem to, it meets the general character of the streetscape, doesn't seem to impact adjacent residential dwellings. I know there was 1 speaker, as well as some letter of support. However, no specific concerns were raised from that speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Auspitz.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Sorry.
Okay, we've got Mr.
Oh, sorry, I'd like to approve as amended. Sorry, apologize.
Approved as amended. Thank you. Noted. So motion by Mr. Auspitz, seconded by Mr. Allison. Any debate or comments from the panel members? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is approved. Thank you. We're on to item 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 6 is 32 Bennington Heights, and we'll check to see if the agent owner is online.
Thank you. So 32 Bennington Heights, reconstruction and reinforcing of existing rear deck. We have before us a number of reports, including arborist report, geotechnical report, ravine report, slope stability study and erosion risk report, a TRCA report, conservation. This deals with variances, including side yard setback. There's rear yard shoreline setback, stable top bank setback. All right. So we have several participants here. Is the first one, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correct, Yu Ing. I believe that may be the applicant.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I've unmuted Mary Tremaine. I believe she is speaking on behalf of the applicant and agent.
Mary Tremaine? Okay, this is not
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, well, why don't we start with you, please? Mary Tremaine, please state your name, make your presentation, give your address.
Hi, my name is Mary Tremaine. We're the agent for owners. My company name is Plant Architect, address 317 Adelaide Street West. We're here today just to present this application. I believe it to be fairly simple. There's an existing deck at the rear of this property, and the owner wishes to reconstruct the deck to the exact footprint and design of the existing deck. There are a couple of variances that we're requesting. One is the side yard setback on the west lot line. The other one is to do with the projection of this uncovered deck from the back of the house, which we're requesting to be 4.77 meters. And then due to the location of the property within the jurisdiction of the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, there are also some variances that we're requesting to do with the location relative to the shoreline hazard limit and stable top of bank. And we have been in conversation with, we've submitted preliminary permit applications to both the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority and to the Ravine and Natural Features Protection, and both are in support of this application as long as it does not project any farther from the building and maintains the same footprint. I don't believe I have much else to add to that.
All right, thank you. We have another speaker from your office, is that correct? We have Yu Ying, is that also presenting, or is it just you?
No, it's just me.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you. All right, so are there any questions from panel members to the applicant? Thank you. All right, our next presenter is Chris French, 55 Booth Avenue. Please confirm and please make your presentation. Hello?
I'm acting. Hi, my name is Chris French. I'm acting as the construction manager for the homeowner and working with Mary and her team on this application. Just wanted to outline the reason for the replacement of the deck is because it's presently about 22 years old and it's considerably degraded. And so the intent is just to replace the exact same footprint with the exact same size. Yeah, and that's the reasoning for it. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions from panel members? Thank you. All right, let's go into committee then. Committee members, panel members, is there any?
I propose a motion to approve the building of the new deck at 32 Bennington Heights, with the condition that they receive TRCA approval and permit to build.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. We have a seconder on that? Okay, Mr. Reed, is there any, Ms. Martin, do you have anything more to say about your motion?
No.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Reed, no. Anyone else from the committee wish to address that? Okay, those in favor of the motion? That is approved. Thank you. Thank you to the presenters. We're on to our next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, we're going to skip item number 7, 19 Treadgold. We'll return to that. And why don't we go straight to 66 Lawrence, which I believe the applicant is present in the chambers and is approaching the microphone as we speak.
Okay, so this is item 8, 66 Lawrence Avenue East. It's a proposal for main floor rear addition and alterations to existing dwelling. We have on file a number of documents, including a forestry report, letter of support, 5 letters. This deals with a request for variance side yard setback. So item 8 we have before us, so please state your name and your address. Go ahead and make your presentation. Thank you.
Sure. Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Ghazal Qureshi, and I'm located at Unit 901, 2885 Bayview Avenue. I would like to quickly indicate the fact that all the changes we have proposed comply with all the regulations, and we are proposing one variance only on the east side associated with the proposed rear deck. The deck itself complies with the regulations such as rear yard setback, the maximum height of 1.2 meter above ground, and the maximum projection of 2.5 meter. It's not affecting the rear soft landscaping area, and it doesn't project into the existing building setback. So we would like the following items to be considered: the number of variances, letters of support provided by the neighbors. We have no staff report objecting the proposal, and the proposed screening fence on the east side. So to conclude, we believe this application is minor, so obtaining the approval is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Panel members, question to the applicant? No questions? All right, no other people here in opposition or support. Let's go into committee.
Mr. Chair, just double check there's nobody else online for 66 Lawrence.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have no other registered speakers for this item.
Perfect, thank you. So let's go into committee. Got a motion on the floor, Mr. Reed.
Yes, I'll put forward a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Reed.
I'm curious, is there any consideration of privacy screening that the applicant noted that may want to be?
Sorry.
Also, through you, Mr. Chair, there's a forestry memo, if you would like to consider that. If Mr. Reed would like to amend his motion.
Forestry report. Mr. Reed, did you take note of the forestry report?
Yes, conditions 2 and 3.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I think to my members' question about screening, yes, the applicant mentioned screening, and I think we can add that in as a condition because I think that is an important mitigating factor. So I would move approval of the application subject to urban forestry condition 2 and 3, plus a condition that privacy screening be built to a minimum height of 1.5 meters from the deck floor on the east side of the deck, from the house to the end of the deck.
Okay, so let's put that forward. We'll have debate on it, I suppose, and questions, but is there a seconder? Because we've got a motion on the floor. So is there a seconder to the motion? And then
Before I second,
Sorry, can I, like, I see that the applicant is raising their hand, and we're adding some various conditions. I'd like to hear from the applicant. Is that something we can do, Mr. Swartz?
Sure, let's break from the committee, back to the applicant. There's a question from Mr. House.
Sure, thank you. I would like to mention a couple of facts. So the first one is associated with the screening fence we have proposed on the east side. So the east neighbor had no concern in this regard. So this is what we are proposing to make sure that their privacy is respected. So, and in regards to the urban forest condition, we have one condition only associated with the street tree, indicating that when the street tree does not exist, then the owner needs to pay the fee, and so the tree can be planted. So this matter has been discussed with the owner, and they're so willing to take care of that matter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Back into committee. Oh, unless is that a follow-up question, Mr. House?
No, I just I saw the applicant raising their hand
Yes,
and
thank you.
concerned about,
Thank you.
so I just wanted to make sure that
I appreciate that. No,
if
yeah.
there was
by all
any
means, if
additional
anyone,
information.
notices something like that I don't, I'm happy to entertain it, and thank you for raising it. So we're back into committee. We've got a motion on the floor. Just back to our motion maker, Mr. Reed. Based on what you've heard, are you still satisfied that your motion can
Certainly,
go forward?
I think the applicant is in agreement with the motion, and
Okay.
has noted that she's been in touch with urban forestry, so that's progressing. But I'd like to keep the urban forestry comments there.
Okay. Good. I know, Mr. Allison, usually I like to have a seconder on the floor and then we get into debate, but we already started with you, so.
I was gonna second the motion. I did see that the applicant was raising their hand, and I just wanted to make sure that we didn't miss anything with respect to some of the changes or amendments that we were proposing.
So does staff have with the conditions, we've been following all this? Good, okay.
Great.
So back to, we now have a motion on the floor. Any debate on the motion? Anybody want, the motion maker, seconder want to address it? Any other panel members want to discuss this motion?
I didn't give much justification, but I think this is an extremely minor application. It's a squaring off of the back of the house, and the only variance is in relation to the deck. And it's a pretty common feature, and as the applicant has put forward, they're willing to mitigate the impacts, any potential impacts of that by adding the screening. So I think it's a minor variance in the truest sense.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reed.
I would agree.
Good.
Yep, I second that.
And are there comments, any further comments? Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Madam, for your presentation. We're on to the next item. Are we back to Just staff, item number 7 was deferred.
We're still going to skip that one for a second. We're just going to move on to item number 9 at this point, 232 Willowdale Avenue. We'll check to see if the agent is online.
Okay, so we're here at item 9, 232 Willowdale Avenue. That's to construct a garden suite. We have a arborist report. Could you please mute yourself until I'm finished just introducing this? Requested variances, side yard setbacks, and canopy encroachments. All right, so we have a presentation on item 9. Again, please correct me if I get the pronunciation of the name wrong. Shen Shu Zhang, 93 Scarsdale. Please confirm that's you, and please make your presentation.
To be changed. Once you make the changes that
Hello?
Manoj is instructed today.
Do we have a presentation from a person on the phone? And could you please introduce yourself?
Mr. Chair, just apologies right now. It doesn't sound like we actually have the applicant.
We do not have the applicant.
Who did you unmute? Mr. Chair, we'll try one more time to unmute the applicant. We'll verify it is the one listed.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter, you know. So just, we'll deal with it.
Mr. Chair, at this point, it doesn't sound like we have the applicant. Why don't we just skip this one? Actually, maybe we're making good time if we can just take a quick break. Maybe this would be a good time. Sorry. One more. We'll do one more because we actually have the agent here for the next item. So why don't we go to 1 Tally Lane at this point?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item is item 10, 1 Tally Lane, proposal to construct a circular driveway by adding to the existing driveway. We have before us a number of documents and reports, including forestry report. We have 4 letters of support. We have a staff report. This deals with variances for side yard landscape area and also for soft side yard landscaping. So the presenter, Hamid Behesht, 49 Wycliffe Crescent, please confirm that's you and go ahead with your presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members, and committee staff. I am Hamid Behesht from Homeland at 49 Wycliffe Crescent. And there's a presentation which I would like to...
please proceed, yes.
Thank you so much. If kindly, thank you. Yes, slide number 1. We're dealing with a corner lot here, and which is located at the frontage, the front's a busy street of Burbank Drive, and the side is a quiet, much quiet street by the name of Tully Lane. This house exists and has got an existing driveway, regular driveway, highlighted in color yellow here. We're adding a circular portion to the existing house and the existing driveway, which safely passes between the existing tree and the house. I believe the previous architect, designer of this house has done a good job because as I said, the frontage of this house fronts to a busy street, so they have done a good job designing the driveway at a quiet Tully Lane. This house does deserve to have a circular driveway in regards to the dimensions, property dimensions. The frontage is 75 feet and the side dimension is 102 feet. So we know that houses with the frontages of 60 feet and over are allowed to have a circular driveway. So by having the existing driveway at the side, which has made the situation much better with a length of 102 feet, I strongly believe that this house does deserve to have a circular driveway. To make this 2 variances clear today, I would like slide number 2 to be shown, please. Here at the top half of the drawing, what you can see is the translation, visual translation of the 2 variances that we have in front of us today. And obviously, what we're looking at, we see not enough landscaping and soft landscaping. This variance has directly come from the definition of the side yard, which is limited to the two borders at the left and right side. Because each front yard, rear yard, and side yard have definitions, and because of this definition, a very tiny portion of the yard will be usually remained for the side yard. But the reality, and physical reality and visual reality of the area can be seen at the bottom half of the drawing. If Irving can show it, please. No, the bottom half, please. Right. That's what we see inside. So there is really not shortage of landscaping and soft landscaping. There are tons of green area at the rear, at the side, and at the front of this property. So having a circular portion, adding a circular portion to the existing driveway really and visually doesn't actually shorten the landscaping area for this beautiful corner lot property. We had a little study of the area, and if you can see slide number 3, we found in the immediate neighborhood of the subject property, we found at least 15 other houses with circular driveways. As you can see, the subject property in the middle is shown in color pink, and the other properties around this subject property, at least 15 of them we found with circular driveways. If we can kindly see the pictures of these 15 houses quickly, these are like 87 Citation Drive, 132 Citation Drive, 102 Burbank Drive, 3 High Mount Drive, 5 High Mount, 15 High Mount, 19 High Mount, 23 High Mount, 50 High Mount, 30 High Mount, 16 High Mount, 12 High Mount Drive, 19 Flaremore Crescent, 17 Flaremore, and finally 2 Flaremore Crescents. So what you can see is, of course, there are lots more circular driveways in the Bay Village area, but these 15 are the ones which are very close to the subject property.
So, Mr. Applicant, I just want to, just to confirm with staff, I think we're coming up against your 5-minute limitation here. Is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, we are coming up at the 5-minute mark.
Okay, so if you could please wrap it up, because we got 5 minutes.
Right. I just want to add that we have we spoke with the neighbors, and we have 4 written supports from the neighbors, 2 from the front across the street, which directly see the proposed driveway, and 1 at the side, the only side to this property. And also we have the support of the committee staff. I mean, the planning staff, sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, turn it over to panel members. Any questions for the applicant?
I have a question. If we can pull up the supporting material with the number 2. Thank you. Right there. I believe there's a small porch on that elevation with a doorway. How do you propose to? Is there no hardscaping proposed, or is the entry being blocked off on that side? Because it showed a soft landscaping, but there's a door there.
Right. Well, we did our best to increase the amount of landscaping, obviously, here. So the access, it's a very, very, very short distance, so we can just go through the grass or have some landscaping materials there. It's a very short distance.
The other question I had was just concerning the existing condition. I had an opportunity to come by the property, and I noticed that what's reflected in the drawings with respect to the existing driveway and what's actually there is not consistent. It does look like the driveway was recently enlarged. The hardscaping was enlarged, and that entire area between the proposed driveway and the house, most of it is hardscaped. I also did notice a walkway around the building that is connecting both the side, both elevations? Because, I mean, it's a corner lot, so I see that there's two entry points. Is it proposed that that is going to be also removed, the hardscaping there? Because I want to be clear, I understand the,
Definitely, yes. Those hardscaping are going to be removed, and those were not in the original design of this house. I took the survey, which was a part of the original building permit of this house back in like 2011, I believe. So what you saw must have been added later, probably without permit. Whatever is there, though, will be removed for sure.
And lastly, I did notice that forestry had some concerns with respect to the tree, and they're recommending refusal. I'm hoping you might just take some time to speak to the tree that's on the property there.
Yes, absolutely. Mr. Chair, I believe that I did my homework correctly for this project, because a couple of months ago, before starting having this proposal, I could foresee that there would be two problems here, one with the forestry department and one with the transportation department. And that's why before doing anything, I referred to both departments. First, I went to the fourth story, talked to the transportation department. They assured me that everything's going to be all right, and the turnaround of the circular driveway is going to have enough distance to the intersection. And then I went to the third floor of the very same building and talked to the forestry. They also assured me that nothing is going to be a problem, and a very simple application to injure that city tree will solve the problem. I asked them, are you sure? Shall we go ahead? And they said, yes, we don't see any problem. And then surprisingly, I saw this report, which was gonna actually was a little disappointing and sad. And I went again last week and I said, you have assured me that everything is gonna be all right, and you surprised me with this report. They just apologized to me. They said, oh, we didn't consider this or that or those kind of stuff. So I believe if Irving can kindly show that memorandum of Forestry Department, on page 2, there are 3 conditions. Kindly show condition number 1. Right. Perfect. It reads, their own memorandum reads that any application to remove a city-owned tree and any application to injure a city tree that is not supported by urban forestry may be denied regardless of Committee of Adjustment approval. So I believe, I respectfully expect approval of this variances and this proposal today. And I suggest that we should leave it to the Forestry Department and see if it's really the end of the world for them, and if it's really they're against this proposal, even with the planning staff, which has recommended the circular portion of the driveway be constructed by permeable materials, then they will deny it. So there's nothing anybody can do about it. But respectfully, today, I would like to ask for the approval and then leave it for the forestry to decide.
Mr. Allison, is that satisfactory?
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, I have a question.
Mr. Allison,
I guess when I look at the drawings and when I look at the street, like I'm seeing a lot of pavement happening, right? So you have the cross street, then you are looking at a driveway. I guess my question is, like, what benefit does that extra portion of pavement serve for the property owner? Because I'm trying to balance the various tests, but I'm just what benefit? What is the need for it? It's
I strongly believe that when we have a circular driveway, well, obviously everybody is going into the driveway, driving forward, and gets out of the driveway, again driving forward, which is totally safe for everybody. When we have a regular driveway, everybody goes to the driveway or to the garage, driving forward, and gets out of the driveway, driving backward. And that driving backward is where the problem happens in terms of accidents or stuff like that. So perhaps that's why the lawmakers allow for the houses with the frontage of 18 meters or 60 feet and more to have a circular driveway, because that's obviously better for the safety of the neighborhood. And especially for this house, because it sides, the driveway faces the quiet street of the neighborhood. I think it's better for everybody. And perhaps that's why we got the support of all the neighbors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, any further questions? Ms.
I just have a quick comment. I know that the staff report recommended permeable pavers, and I think that would assist in the survivability of the tree. So just wondering if you're considering that.
Definitely, yes. We are totally okay with the planning condition. For sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, further questions? We're done? All right. Yes, further question, Mr. House? No? Okay, so let's go into committee, and I'll ask for a motion, or Mr. Auspitz is
Yes.
itching to talk. I'll turn it over to you, hopefully for a motion. But
I'd like to motion to approve. It's too much hardscaping adjacent to to refuse. It's too much hardscaping adjacent to the street. I don't think it meets the Planning Act test for a minor variance, particularly with respect to the appropriateness test.
Thank you. So let's just clear, your motion as worded is to?
Refuse the
Motion,
application.
we have on the floor a motion by Mr. Auspitz to.
I would agree. I have similar concerns with the application. I just don't think it's necessary, and I think it just falls short of meeting the 4 tests, particularly with respect to that test of desirability. I don't see the desirability in hardscaping to just, create a circular driveway, particularly since variances being flagged would require reduction in soft yard landscaping. I think there are lots in the city that, would qualify, and I think having a large frontage is definitely helps, but I think there's other criteria that have to come into play, particularly with ensuring that there is sufficient soft yard landscaping. So I will second that.
Okay, so we've got a motion, a seconder. Now, other and comments have been made. Other comments by panel members? Any other comments by any other panel member? Yes. Mr.
Thank
Reid.
you. Thanks, Chair. I agree with my 2 colleagues, and I just want to add that I think with the appropriateness question, but the variances themselves are extremely large, and I think that from a purely kind of academic perspective, that's another reason to support refusal.
Thanks, Mr. Reid. Ms. Martin, you're the only one left. You don't have to comment, but you're welcome to. All right. Put it to a vote. All those in favor of motion? Motion to refuse carried. Thank you.
Sorry, was there anybody opposed?
Anybody opposed? Oh, one opposed to, sorry, Ms. Martin, didn't see you there. Appreciate that. All right, so motion is carried, 3-1 vote.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, at this point, can we take a quick break? Thank you.
A 10-minute break unless panel members need more. Okay, so we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay, hello? So we are back from our break, and I would like to turn it over to staff for a brief comment on item number
7.
Item number 7, staff, if you could.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So item number 7, 19 Treadgold, we just realized that the public notice that was mailed out indicates a hearing date of Friday, January 19th, basically tomorrow. As such, proper notice was not given, and the application should be dealt with and deferred until proper notice can be given. At this point, we have the owner online who would like to speak, and I understand we have another registered speaker as well. So, Mr. Chair, if you're okay, we would unmute the owner at this point.
So do we have to hear from them, or can we have a motion from our panel? You're saying that there was an improper notice given?
It was improper notice because the hearing date got mailed out to say that the hearing is tomorrow.
Okay, well,
So the owner, we have the owner who would like to speak.
The owner would like to speak to that. Well, I mean, all right, but we'll let the owner speak, but I'm saying that I'm just going to say it may be inappropriate to speak about the application if notice is not given. All right, go ahead, Mr. Owner. If you could please just address the issue of the notice first, okay? Because notice was not given. So if you could address that in relation, not the substance of your application at this point, but first that issue, if you could. Please state your name and the address. Thank you. Are you there?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, just give us a second. They're going to be doing it through a speakerphone from our staff on your left.
Can you please state your name and address?
Yep, Sandy Taylor, 19 Treadgold Crescent, North York, M3A1X1.
Are they on the list here, 19 Treadgold?
She's the owner. The applicant, the agent could not attend the hearing.
Oh, she's the owner, 19. I see. Okay,
Sandy
fine,
Taylor.
thank you.
Sandy Taylor.
I can't hear anything. Sandy Taylor is the name, and the address is 19 Treadgold?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, we'll give her an opportunity, but I don't believe at this point now that she wishes to speak.
Okay.
Can I just confirm that, please?
Is there anything that you want to say, Sandy? They can hear you.
I think I've already said it, so I just want to finish this phone call because I have some things I have to do. So
We can't really hear.
I don't know what to say. I'm just extremely disappointed. Let's put it that way.
All right, so what I did hear is that she was extremely disappointed. I couldn't really hear the rest of it. Are
That's
there any
okay.
questions from the panel members to the applicant? Thank you.
And then we'll check to see if there is a speaker online too as well.
The other speaker, the neighbors, already informed, so they left the call.
Okay.
Okay, so the neighbors know as well. Okay, thank you very
Okay,
much.
so we'll move into committee. Panel members, any motion on the matter? Mr. Reid.
Thanks, Chair. I'm going to move a motion for deferral of the application. And subject to, this is, proper notice was not given, so I think statutorily we're required to step this down. I'd like to apologize to the applicant or the owner on behalf of the city. And this is a good faith error, and so I think hopefully staff will work to get the application on the soonest, the next possible hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Reid. A seconder for that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. Any debate, discussion? Panel members, those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. On to the next item.
Thank you. Can we check back again with number 9, 232 Willowdale, please, to see if the speaker's online?
Okay, let's go back to number 9 again. This is 232 Willowdale Avenue. This is to construct a garden suite. We have an arborist report. This deals with requested variances, including side yard setbacks, canopy encroachments. Do we have a speaker on the line? We have somebody who has indicated that they would like to speak. I presume that is the applicant. Is the applicant on the line?
Yes, I'm Shen Shu, the applicant, Shen Shu Zhang.
So, thank you. So please state your name and your address, and then go ahead with your presentation, 5 minutes maximum.
Sure. Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair and committee member. My name is Shen Shu Zhang, architect, the agent of this project. So this
Your
application
address,
is
please. Hello,
oh,
address.
Yeah,
Your-
my address is 98 Scarsdale Road, North York.
Thank you. Now go ahead, please.
Thank you. Yeah, these minor variance applications regarding suite, a garden suite in the rear yard. Now for the garden suite, we have two minor variances. The first one is regarding the setback from the side yard facing a street. So the required setback is 3 meters, and the proposed setback is 1.85 meters. That is the same as the main building, which is under construction, that was approved by the committee. Same setback of 1.85. That is the first variance. The second one is about the canopy in the entrance of the garden suite. The canopy itself is 2 feet, and because the setback is reduced from 3 meters to 1.85 meters, so technically the canopy is included into the required minimal side yard setback 3 meters by 1.65 meters. So I think that is also very minor. And all other designs of the garden suite are compliant with the zoning bylaw. That's it. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Panel members, questions for the applicant? Just one question, Mr. Applicant. Were there any changes to your application, or is it as submitted?
No, we don't have changes as submitted.
Questions from panel members? Motion from panel members. Anybody want to make a motion on this?
I would like to.
Sure.
I'd like to motion to approve. I'd like to note that the application meets the 4 tests of a minor variance. It would facilitate. I know that the city has adopted several official plan amendments related to EHON, like expanding housing in existing neighborhoods, and this would achieve that objective. I also note that moving that garden suite closer to the front, to the south property line, will actually benefit the adjacent the adjacent property to the north by reducing any potential negative impacts.
Thank you. We have a seconder.
Well said, Mr. Auspitz. I will second that for the same reasons you stated.
Thank you. Seconder, Mr. Allison. Comments from panel members? Those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. On to the next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we dealt with item 10 already, and item 11 was previously deferred. So we are moving on to item 12 at this point.
Great.
12 Forbane Place.
Okay, 12 Forbane Place. Proposal to construct a rear addition, second floor addition, side yard, side garage addition, rear deck, and front porch. You have on file a number of documents, including a letter of support, transportation report. This concerns 4 variances: east yard setback, maximum lot coverage, driveway width, rear platform setback. It's item 12, and on item 12, we have 1 speaker scheduled. Name is Han Zhou, 40 Vogel Road. Is that person here, please?
Sure, I'm here today.
Sure. So please go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
And we'll ask if they're making any changes first.
Are you making changes, or is it as is?
As is, thank you.
Thank you.
Just need your name and address, please.
Good morning. So my name is Han Zhu. I'm the agent representing 12 Forbane Place. My address is 40 Bogo Road, Richmond Hill. So as mentioned, we're proposing the garage extension with the rear yard and the side yard today. With regards to the proposal, it takes into account basically the neighborhoods which intend for stable areas. The area is primarily consistent of older bungalows, split homes, and two-story homes or partial two-story homes. As stated in the official plan, the economy has changed and thousands of people have begun working at home, which requires additional space for the household, and that's the main reason for our addition today. The proposed addition is generally in keeping with the physical character for the neighborhood, and our changes are gradual, and I believe it fits into the neighborhood when considering we're mainly sticking with the existing footprint of the home in terms of the width as well as the depths of the building. So the rear addition is to flush out the L-shaped home that is right now. The side yard addition is mainly to allow for a second parking space at the existing driveway. I want to mention the existing rear yard setbacks, the front yard setbacks, as well as the side yard setback on the west side are maintained, and there's been no changes. And in terms of the continuation of the existing front yard landscape, it's also no changes are actually proposed to the front yard landscaping. So I do believe there was a comment that we tried to reach out to transportation for with regards to a proposed driveway. So I do want to mention on the site plan, it does state that this is the existing driveway. So we are not actually expanding the driveway or the curb, as might be the concern for the transportation. The extension for the garage will only cover up to the part where the existing driveway is today. When we spoke with planning staff as well, going through the proposals, and they feel that everything is within the allowance that they believe that we are proposing. And we are mainly keeping in sync with what is in the general area. So on the west side, we're maintaining a setback of 1.83 meters for the allowed for the areas 1.8 meters. On the east side for the garage, we're asking for a setback of 0.97 meters. This is the only reason is to allow for the second parking space minimum according to zoning for a parking spot. And then after the garage, we are actually extending the setback to 1.22 meters, which is in line with the adjacent property. And this is also the norm in the area, as the majority of the variances that's been set within the last 5 to 10 years have requested variances on both sides for the properties. So this numbers to about, I think, 50 variances that's been preset. And the presence is around 1.2 meters, which is asking. So we're asking for a little bit less for 0.97 only at the garage, in which case the majority of the house, it does match to 1.22. And we have spoken with both neighbors, number 10 and number 14, Fordale, and both have shown support for the project. And the lot coverage, like mentioned, we are mainly using it as a flush out for the L-shaped building. The rear yard setback is maintained. The primary variance with regards to the platform is because of the split level home. The ground floor, because the rear of the ground floor is slightly elevated, in which case the deck walkout from that area is a higher, as is also because the slope for the property extends towards the west as well as the rear, considerably lower than the southeast corner. For the area, it is undergoing significant actually developments. Majority of the homes in the area are going through either infill projects or additions. I did attach some reference photos. I'm not sure if we can pull those. You can see on pages 2 and 3 and 4 showing developments for the area that's in sync with what we are proposing today. And to my belief that the proposal today is minor in nature, mainly because we are doing proprietary a side yard setback, which is the primary concern. In which case we actually kept the same setback as the adjacent neighbor on 14 Forbane, which also has a 1.22 setback at the east side, or their west side, which is also a double garage. Yeah, that's everything I wanted to just clear out today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Applicant. So, panel members, any questions of the applicant?
Brief question concerning the variance for the widening. Is that is that a requirement in order to fit two vehicles? I mean, is there a way? I mean, with what is the as of right? Is it not possible to support two vehicles without that variance?
So just to clarify, on the site plan, if you are able to pull it up, we can see that it only covers up to basically where the entrance for the double garage door is. So it's basically, it spans the garage. The driveway lines actually at the house is a little bit shorter than the width of the garage. And it does, we do lessen it as it gets closer to the curb. And as mentioned, this is the actual existing driveway on the property today. We're not actually widening or making any changes to it from today. If you see on the second page, it does have the existing survey, which you can see by the surveyor. I think it might be a second attachment, maybe. So
I'll jump in.
You can see the.
I can see that. Yeah. No. And your point is yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, and I can see it on the survey that the driveway is existing. So yeah, I don't dispute that. Thank you.
Any other questions, panel members? All right, thank you. So let's go into committee. No other speakers, correct? So committee, any interest in bringing a motion? Anyone to bring a motion? Ms. Martin?
I can make a motion to approve, subject to recommendations in the transportation report of January 11th, and also subject to any required urban forestry permits.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor subject to urban forestry and the report.
I'm happy to second that.
Seconder by Mr. Allison. Comments for any panel members?
A point of clarification, has forestry added any conditions? Because
No, there are no, forestry has not added any conditions.
Okay. So, is there a change you would like to make to the motion regarding the forestry condition?
You want to amend?
Just to clarify, I have a note here that there was a tree located within the proposed driveway. Is that not the case?
The forestry memorandum we received does not indicate that they have any condition.
Okay.
So any amendment to your motion, Ms. Martin? In terms of, so why don't we restate?
So do you want me to restate my motion to approve, subject to recommendations from the transportation report, January 11th, 2024, sorry.
Okay, so I think that was effectively, okay, and is the seconder fine with that?
Yes, okay. I second that.
Okay. All right, so we have the motion before us. Those in favor? It's approved. All right, then on to the next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're moving on to the next item. It is item number 13, 14 Milgate. We have, looks like we have an agent and a neighbor registered to speak.
Okay, Milgate, this is to construct an accessory structure or a pool enclosure. We have a letter of objection on file amongst the submissions. This is for 3 variances. Maximum, these include maximum total floor area of all ancillary buildings or structures, maximum permitted lot coverage, and proposed lot coverage. So item 13, we have 2 presenters. Looks like the applicant, Rika Papa Architecture. Is that correct? Please introduce yourself, state your name and address.
Through you, Mr. Chair, my name is Ricky Paul. I'm the architect and owner's agent. Our office is 174 Spadina Avenue.
Thank you. Please proceed. You have 5 minutes.
To you again, Mr. Chair, the subject proposal is for a covered pool structure over an existing pool at the rear of a 2-story single-family dwelling. The proposed structure will perform as a trellis for shading during the summer months, and in the winter months, the trellis structure will be infilled by transparent panels so the owner can use the heated pool during the winter. There are no new foundations associated with the structure, resulting in no additional impact to private, public trees or landscaping. The trellis structure will sit on top of the existing concrete pool foundation wall. There are residential neighbors to the north and south of the property and no immediate neighbors to the west or rear. A 2-meter fence is planned at both sides and the rear line of the property. Shadowing does not occur on the adjacent properties after the installation of the fencing. The structure is 8 feet or 2.4 meters tall and will only be marginally visible at the top 1 foot over the fence from a distance. The proposed pool covering structure is well below the maximum allowed height of a rear ancillary structure of 4 meters and is minimally designed so to remain functional in its use and not exceed the footprint of the pool. Given the transparency of the wall panels, the enclosure will have the appearance of a greenhouse during the winter months and be 80% open air during the summer without the panels. The existing pool was constructed as per bylaw, and variances were sought related to the pool when the plan for the new home went through approvals in 2022. The structure complies with setback articles of bylaw for ancillary structures. However, we are seeking 3 variances related to coverage and area, which is dictated by the existing pool dimensions. I've discussed the proposal with planning. They're in support of the proposal and have no concerns. I would like to add that the majority of the energy to the pool and the entirety of the house is sourced from renewable energy systems, which is rare, unique, and costly commitment to sustainability, particularly in this area. This is laudable in my opinion and contributes to the reduced impact of the structure and home. I'd like to reiterate, for the majority of the year, this will essentially operate as a rear trellis over the approved pool. Overall, I believe the proposal has minimal impact on the neighboring properties, and I believe these variances have been shown to be minor in nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant, panel members? No? All right. Thank you. Thank you. We have another applicant or another presenter, Jermila Pfizer. Please come forward, state your name and address, and make your presentation. 5 minutes maximum, please. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you. Please state your name and address, madam.
This is Yarmila Fisher. I live on 12 Milgate Crescent. The plan which is being shown shows the old house which is standing there. The present construction is, that's right, that's how the house look now, and that is the swimming pool, which is 30 meters long and 3 or 4 meters wide. So basically, I submitted a picture of the swimming pool in my letter, accompanying my letter. According to that's correct. This is how the swimming pool area looks. So basically the view from my house to the park, which is adjacent Bayview Park, is through the slit between the enormous building, which is practically obstructing view from my living room, dining room, and patio. It would be the only way to see some greenery. Now, don't forget, this swimming pool is a training swimming pool along the entire length of the west wall of the property. And we are talking about 2.5 meter wide, tall, and 3 or 4 meter wide structure. So looking from my windows, I will just see yet another construction. This small area is covered by so much construction site. It is practically giving you a feeling of an industrial property, not a family home in Bayview Village. So I truly can't imagine having this huge swimming pool being covered by 2.5 meters tall building coverage or protection and encirclement, and having additional slanted roof over it. So to say that there will be no obstruction, visual obstruction, is not realistic, as much as it's not realistic the presented original picture of the house, which was torn down, and now there is an enormous, huge house already blocking light to the property.
Thank you, madam.
This, can I just, I'm sorry,
Yes,
I would just
absolutely.
like
Keep going.
mention the Committee of Adjustment and Minor Variances, the first sentence says that the role of Committee of Adjustment is to provide flexibility in dealing with minor adjustment by zoning by law requirements. To approve such variance, it must prove that the variance requested is minor. This property is requiring the maximum total floor area of all ancillary building or structures to be 60 square meters, to be increased to 115, which is almost double. My question is, what is the definition of minor variance? Thank you.
Thank you. Madam, are you finished? You have 1 minute left if you're, or are you finished?
Yeah, well, I'm very unhappy.
All right, any questions to the presenter from any of the panel members? Is there any rebuttal or comments from the applicant? Applicant, no comments? Okay. Hearing no comments from the applicant.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I've just unmuted the applicant. They can speak if they wish.
All right. So applicant, you have an opportunity to make a comment on the comment of the last presentation if you so wish, or you may answer a question if you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to note that the pool, the existing pool, there were no variances associated with the pool. And I think I've expressed the transparency of the what will essentially be a trellis for the majority of the year in the rear yard. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Panel members, go into committee. Let's go into committee then. Do we have a motion from any panel member? Yes, Mr. Reed.
I will bring forward a motion for refusal. Would you like to hear my reason?
Yes, absolutely.
I think the variances, just looking at them on the sheet, these are extremely large variances. And while I understand that this would be a highly desirable thing to have to make a pool usable throughout the year for the residents of the house, I think that I don't think this is anywhere near the intent of the zoning bylaw. This is a massive structure in the rear of a property, and even though it's limited to 1 story, the scale is really kind of astounding. So I can't see from a coverage perspective and an ancillary building total GFA perspective how this could be supported. So I will move refusal of the application.
Okay, we have motion on the floor. Refusal.
Sir, I'd like to second, but I would like to add that this pool structure, I do really hear what the adjacent to a resident had said at 20 Milgate Crescent. The industrial feel. I recognize view is not covered under. I recognize all decisions have persistently said that view is not really covered under this. However, I do hear the point about encirclement or a sense of enclosure when you're looking at when something like this is being constructed. So we heard the resident in this case.
All right, so we have motion, we have a seconder. Any other comments from any panel members? No further comments. Vote on the motion. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last item of the morning is number 14. That is 464 Elm. I note that we have an agent and 4 other registered speakers.
Okay, thank you. 464 Elm Road, proposal to construct a new dwelling with an integral garage, front porch, walk-up, and covered deck. We have on file a number of documents, including an arborist report, a forestry report, a letter of objection. This matter concerns 2 variances, one maximum lot coverage, another maximum height. Let's go to the applicant. Let me just confirm, who is the applicant here on number 14 of the people that are listed?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the applicant is Parisa Amiri.
The applicant is, pardon me? First name on the list, all right.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, so please state your name and state your address, and you have 5 minutes.
Yes, this is Parisa Amiri. I'm the architect on the file, and my address is 50 Woodville Avenue, Toronto, Ontario. And regarding this application, we are requesting to relieve 2 variances. One of them is lot coverage, which we are requesting 1.67% extra, and the other 26 centimeter extra. If I can have the site plan, yes. Based on the nature of the this lot is irregular, and the side line of the north side line line of the lot is backing the rear lot line of the property facing Joyce. And we had contemplated the site a lot and tried to come up with something which is fitting in the neighborhood based on the recent development in the area as well. And the jog that you are seeing in the building, we wanted to follow the regular side of the lot, and we try to respect the site and the forces that the site had on the drawing, on the design, and came up with the design which we believe it really fit in the neighborhood, and the variances that we are requesting are very modest. And I read the letter of objection that is submitted by the neighbor, and I try to answer them. Like for the tree that the neighbor on the south side mentioned, we haven't consult with them. Those trees well belong to the client and are private tree, and we submitted the full package urban forestry application, and we were in contact with the urban forestry. The urban forestry didn't have any objection, and the letter that the urban forestry sent to the committee of adjustment is only for planting a tree, city tree in front of the property. They don't have any other objection. And we are saving all the rear tree for the neighbor. And I understand they are concerned about the height and the mass of the building, but I need to tell the existing one-story building is long enough, and we are only proposing 1.74 meter beyond that, and it's we are not going beyond the permitted length, and two-story building is as of right of my clients as the owner of this property. And regarding the height variance that that we are requesting, if you take a look at the elevation, can we have the elevation, please? Yes. If you take a look at this elevation, there is no overhang from the for the slope roof. The reason is my client wanted kind of a barn look construction and design. That's why there is no overhang. If we wanted to do the overhang, even with 8 inches overhang, we wouldn't need to go to ask for the side main wall height variance, and it would go below 7.5 meter. That's
So,
why we are
Madam, I just
requesting
want to
that.
advise you of the time. Just have your 30 seconds.
Yes, I'm wrapping it up. Wrapping it up based on the development in the neighborhood and the nature of the lot. What we are proposing is very modest and meet the protest of the planning department, and we are requesting for the approval. That's that, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Panel members, questions of the applicant? Yes, Mr. Auspitz.
When I look at the lot fabric in the area, I see that your lot appears to be quite substantively larger than other lots in the area.
Yes.
How would your build, do you have a sense of what the building footprints are? Or are there any examples of dwellings with a building footprint that's similar to yours?
Well, the building footprint that we have, I don't have it it's not in the presentation, but the length of the building is, if you even look at the map that is on the screen, the length of the building is quite large, and most of them are new construction. The new construction is 17 meter, and based on the size of the lot, we are allowed to have another 5 meter, 2.5 meter projection in the middle of the building. So we don't have any problem with the length of the building, and there is no variance based on the length of the building. And the mass of the building, it's like the lot coverage that we are asking for, it's based on many other factors. It's like the balcony, there is a walk up in the below that we cannot see it, and it's kind of a part of the calculation for the nobody can see that one. It's part of a calculation for the zoning, and that's why we went a little bit over that. In general, we are not having any side yard variances, any length variance, and the only thing that we are requesting is the lot coverage. It's based on the calculation, zoning calculation that it came up with.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Auspitz, or further follow-up?
Not really, but yeah.
I don't have the numbers for you that the length of the other buildings are, but 2%, in general, 2% extra for the lot
okay,
coverage.
Mr. Auspitz, maybe.
Sorry, I asked about building footprints. Like if you had any examples of building footprints that are similar.
So I take it from the applicant that the answer is no, you don't have.
Okay.
Is that correct, Madam Applicant?
I really don't understand, like the reason that I don't have it. What do you mean by it, which is similar? The white has like the jog that it has in the back, or what do you mean by that? Because it's very unique lot.
Okay, I think we want to move on for other panel members. If there's questions, we'll come back to you, Mr. Auspitz, unless you want to rephrase the question. Otherwise, let's. Mr. Reed has a question.
Thanks, Chair. To the applicant, just a question about your drawings. On the elevations in the rear yard, there's a hatched area that says open area. I understand the one-story projection with the balcony on the second floor. Can you please describe what that is? I know there's a covered canopy in the back, but what is that hatched, the later hatched area?
Well, this is the explanation for the zoning department that I put it for the committee of adjustment as well. The projection, one-story projection, it's mentioned, and the other one that you are seeing, canopy for the roof. And they had a hard time, and they thought we are putting the wall under the on the sides, but I mentioned and I hatched that one, which that area is totally open and there is no wall over there. It's deck, post, and canopy. There is no coverage for the side, front, and like both side and the front. Those are open area.
Okay, that's helpful. So just to confirm then, the covered patio, that's covered at the top of the first floor level, correct?
Exactly,
Okay.
Only top.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from panel members to the applicant?
I doubt a little bit. That actually kind of confused me with respect to the canopy. My understanding is the canopy is, it's a two-story canopy. It's coming up over the second, it's part of the roof structure,
Exactly.
but my understanding is it's open all the way to the deck on the first story. So it's a little unusual for what we're used to, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around it and understand it a little bit better. So as a matter of clarification, am I correct to say that it is actually, the canopy is actually on the second story, not the first story, and that it's a two-story open space at the back?
That's correct. If you take a look at the second floor plan, can we have the second floor plan? Yes, here. You can see I put a crossover there. That all area is open to below. There is no second floor on this area. And the ceiling from the stairs forward goes out. And the main floor at that location has double height as well as the deck. The deck has the canopy from the ceiling. There is no covered from the main floor. Means the roof goes out and these two spaces are connected together, double heighted.
And just so I understand correctly, that canopy is supported by a post and not an extension of the side main wall?
No. That's why I put those hatch for the planning department for the zoning review. And if you again go to my section, that one. Yes, here. You can see the that area is open and the roof is extended, the canopy is extended from the roof, and those areas are open. And we can see the projection at the beyond.
Thank you. I understand now. Thank you for pulling up that drawing.
You're welcome.
Panel members?
Yeah.
Further questions? No? All right, thank you. So thank you, Madam Applicant. Now on to some submissions by area residents. I suppose the next one in line would be Sheridan's, is that correct, from staff?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I've unmuted and
Okay. All right, so we're over to the Sheridans. Angela, Gerald, Sheridan, please state your names, confirm your names, state your address. You have 5 minutes maximum. Also, just a note to the residents, I understand there are a few residents. You can say that you agree with the others, and that may be sufficient rather than repeating them, because you can't really hear the same. I mean, you get your time, but it's not, panel members aren't going to give extra weight to hearing the same thing twice, right? So just say you agree and provide any additional comments that you might provide if you're in agreement with other residents. Okay, so over to the Sheridans, please. State your name, address, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
So,
Can you hear me?
yes, but you have to mute one of your devices, right? Because we're getting, or shut off one of your devices, because we're getting an echo and it's not audible to us.
Okay, I don't.
We're still getting.
No, they're either talking on the phone and watching it on YouTube at the same time, but we're getting an echo in here in the chambers.
Why don't we, while you're, if you're able to do it now, but this is the third try, you have to turn off one of your devices. So either turn off the, or otherwise we'll go to some of the other residents and then we'll come back to you. Are you able to? Why don't we just go to the next resident?
Mr. Chair, I will note that Kevin Muscat and Elizabeth Snip, they both share the same address.
Oh, okay.
So if they want to split their time between each other or just have one speak, but they are noted as being from the same household.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll come back to the Sheridans. We're over to the Muscat Snips. So go ahead, please state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
Okay, it's Kevin Muscat here. Can you hear me?
Yes. And what's your address? Confirm your address.
165 Royce Boulevard.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I confirm with Mr. Muscat that you're also speaking for Elizabeth Snip?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
She may say differently when I talk to her.
Well, I mean, you can split your time.
I'm just joking. That's just a joke. I am speaking for her.
Thank you.
So I understand the committee is really just looking at the two exceptions that are being asked for. I know that our letter contained many items that we want to bring forward. I think there's just a few things that I wanted to kind of pull out, and I think the committee itself was starting to identify that. There was talk of the agent of kind of similarities in the neighborhood, but yet there was talk about the property being irregular shaped. I think that's a very critical item. You know, when we're talking about 35% and trying to minimize things as being 1% difference, you're already talking about a structure which is already going to be different when it maximizes its coverage because of the irregularity of the lot. We are talking about covered porches as well. That's been some of the discussion. You know, I guess, again, I'm not an expert in architectural design. I don't have an agent, but, you know, that also creates a different, what I thought would have been hardscape it takes more coverage of the placement of the water and so forth. I think the elevations, when I was looking at this online, I believe it's going deeper than traditional. It's asking to be higher than traditional. You know, sightline wise in the neighborhood, it's not conducive of the neighborhood as you see it now. And again, you just return back to the law that they're building on. We were very extensive in what we submitted to the committee. My hope is that you would have gone through that in its full length. You do have an example, I believe it's on page 2 of the we submitted. You can see the elevation of one of the backyards. I'm just skipping through it now to you can go up one. I believe it's the, sorry, just go through. There's an image of a backyard. You're looking at the back deck of one of the properties, which happens to be my own. There's glass railing in that. If you go further up, please. Further up, sorry, downward, sorry. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's right there. You can see that we actually, oh, you passed it. You can see that that's a raised garden we've put in actually, in contrast to the tree. There is a little bit off to the left. You are seeing the height difference between that property to ours, and that height difference continues to our neighbor. The Sheridans who are going to be speaking to, their property is lower than our garden as well that we've put in. So, you know, this property is considerably higher. They're going to cover more area. They're going to divert more water. In prior images that you saw, there's actually sewers located in grassy areas because of the element of the water that is in this area. So right now, you know, I have this image like they're asking for a covered canopy. They're displacing water. they'll enjoy the rain when it's coming, and now we're going to have some headaches when it comes to rain and so forth. So I just feel that I don't want this to be an exercise of playing with percentages and minor variances, as we like to call them. I think it's just the realities of what we're facing here. We're facing a much larger home than is typically surrounded by 3 streets. You have representatives here from all sides of this property, and you know we're open to working as well with the individual. But you know, these are just submissions that are going through, and asking for the variances. So hopefully I didn't blab too much through this, but you know, we're asking for a little bit of working together here on this. We just feel, even with the height difference, like it's already going to project shadows, and we just feel like they're asking for more than what's there. And I'm sitting here saying, given the amount of extra, you know, you have extra space with the lot, you know, why are we asking for additional variances rather than not able to construct a home within what's allowable that suits the neighborhood for what is there already? We're actually trying to even go beyond that. I just think it's unreasonable from my perspective, my own perspective.
Thank you.
And that's my.
Thank you so much. You still have a couple of seconds left, but if you're wrapping up, I'll turn it over to the panel if there's any questions.
Yeah, I just a comment, and it's not about this particular. I just think the whole process has been very difficult because, again, we're being brought in at the latter part. We're not experts on this. We lived in this neighborhood. I've been in the neighborhood for over 24 years, and you know, we're not really consulted till the end, and we're here to somehow try and divert people from doing these things at what we feel is like a last minute perspective.
Thank you for the comments. Hopefully staff have taken note of that. It's not, our committee doesn't deal with those matters, but we do deal with the adjudication of the matter. Okay, thank you. So seeing no questions from panel members, we've got, let's go on to the third person. We'll come back to the first one. Hopefully they've got their technology worked out, but let's go to Angela Steos, if we may, staff.
Good morning, everyone. It's Sunny Kim and Angela Steos from 2 Dunn Lane.
Thank you.
So we've consolidated the comments from the neighborhood. We're relatively new residents. We're about almost 3 years in the neighborhood. So we've compiled that. So we're, you know, we've gone together. You know, I agree with everything Kevin has said, and you know, we've all raised the potential concerns around drainage, impact to us, shadow, because there's been no consultation with us. It's almost been, there's been absolutely no, you know, discussions or openness to walk through the plans. So I won't go through what Kevin said, aside from, because it's all correct. If you look through the neighborhood, I believe one of the committee members had raised that in your previous question, this is unprecedented for the lot and the size. You have a build that looks to be innocuous if you look at the percentages, but going to the maximum will have a significant build. There are no balconies on the second floor that will look into 8 or 9 homes. This is on a corner lot. So you have the impact on not only one street or immediate neighbors, you have Elm, Joycey, and Dunn Lane. So those areas are all impacted. And there's a significant you know, risk there. We raised the drainage. I'm just stressing that because we do have drainage issues. The city's been out to clean that out and backing that up. And also the offsets are they're just going to the maximum allowable build. So it's really trying to maximize the space. There's no contingency. So if you look between the houses, there's drainage ditches between there. You're adding hardscape, taking away a lot of grass, and there will be drainage issues. To the right of that house, you have a senior couple that's 80 years old. You know, I don't know, you know, if they had to mitigate drainage issues, it would be substantial. So there has been no plan to give us confidence that this has even been considered in the neighborhood. So I think it really is out of character. There's some pictures in the objection letter of similar homes on lots. So that's why we're saying it's unprecedented, the scale of the build and the variances, right? Nobody has a second floor balcony overlooking this area. And the covered patio structure, I understand from the drawings, but from the practicality, it does cut off the neighborhood. If you look at the view from my backyard, if you scroll down to some of the pictures in the view of where the proposed build is, if you go further down, sorry, scroll down a little the other way. You'll see what we're effectively looking at. All the houses are going to be looking at a stucco wall at that point. So, like Kevin said, we're willing to work with something, that addresses our concerns. We're very reasonable, but as you can see in the neighborhood, there's nothing like this. No one has a covered patio like that. Look at these corner lots that have huge lots. They haven't built a covered patio, which it's not open. It's effectively closing off that space. So those are the key concerns. We have a tree. There's a shortage of greenery in the neighborhood. So I understand that the arborist had a report, but that tree does straddle the property line with the roots and underneath. It's an old tree, 2 trees that have been there, for over 50 years. And then to cut that close to that tree, take that out, it's going to take away a lot of greenery, even if they replace the trees. Do that. So those are the key concerns. So I really believe it takes away from the character. We love the previous tenant. He was a lifelong resident for 80 years there. Well, I understand, things get developed. But again, if you look at the scale and the massing, privacy issues, drainage issues, there's significant concerns, a diverse community of people in the neighborhood, including lifelong residents, recent residents, and families that we hope you'll take into consideration in your assessment. So that's pretty much what I have, and you can go through the drawings or the other neighborhoods, but you are right. You raised a very good point. There is no precedent for this in any other lot down 10 blocks. And you can see that from the pictures.
Thank you. You've got 30 seconds left. Are those your comments? Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's it. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate my neighbors. This has really brought us together, and we hope that we can come to an accommodation to preserve the character of the neighborhood, and really, have something that works within the confines of the aesthetics and the enjoyment, and address the privacy and the drainage and other issues.
Okay, thanks for your comments, and let's see, the panel members have any questions of the resident? We do.
Yes, I just want to clarify something. I just want to clarify, I didn't give any indication of whether there was any precedence of this or not. I was asking the applicant to provide that information in terms of whether there were building footprints and examples of that. So that's what I was asking. So I'm not providing any, I don't have any, I'm trying to understand the community. I'm not giving that information. Just wanted to clarify.
Thanks for the clarification, Mr. Osmond. All right. So let's go back. We have Angela and Gerald Sheridan. They had started before and ran into an audio problem. Are they okay now? Can we go with them?
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Well, you know what? Either so the Sheridans, you have to fix your audio, or we're going to have to. We can't hear you because.
Mr. Chair, give us a second. We're going to see if they can call in to our staff.
That would be helpful.
But it does sound like they have more than one audio-visual device.
Yeah, so if you're listening in for the Sheridans, you're going to have to either turn off your computer or your phone, or if you only can use one device, or we're not going to be able to hear you, or you can call in and we'll try to hear you that way. But if we can't get the audio, we can't hear you.
Okay. Just a quick note, if the Sheridans can hang up, our staff will try to call you at the number provided for us. If they can hang up now, because we tried and we went straight to voicemail. Thank you.
Okay, you're on speaker now.
Hi there. Thank you very much, everybody. Sorry about that. I don't know what was happening. My name's Angela Sheridan, 167 Joycey Boulevard. I've got a terrible echo here, so I'll try and get across if I want to. My huge concerns, if you can understand, 167, my backyard jumps into their backyard. Okay, so right now I'm looking at a small little bungalow, and very soon it will look very, very different. I'm concerned about privacy because of like the height and depth of this building, which is impacting privacy of several neighboring backyards. I'm worried that this exceeds Toronto's limits and setting new precedents. I'm worried, why do we have to do this with this property? If it's such a massive pie lot shape, why can we not just stick to what is allowed? I'm also worried about the concrete raised patio and the large proposed balcony. Again, it's not seen in this neighborhood and affecting privacy in a very, very populated space already. The windows to the north side of the building. Forgive me, I've only seen a site plan. I would hope there are no windows to the north side of the building, which will be, again, affecting privacy at least 4 homes facing this property. It would feel like we're on stage almost. There should be no windows on that side. I would like just to confirm that there are no windows on that side. Finally, the Siberian elm, 165 Joycey. Just doing my research on these types of trees, grown from a weed, it's also known as the tree of death. Lots of branches fall from this. There's a lot of stuff that falls from it, basically. The roots are typically shallow, and they spread across my backyard, and 165, and I'm presuming 464 elm, where the proposed digging will start to happen. I'm worried about the strength of the foundation of this tree being compromised. I'm worried about this humongous tree, which has already been cabled. It forks low. It has heavy limbs. It's a problem, but I'm worried about our safety with proposed digging for a new build. They will already indicate they will be injuring the roots as proposed, which will likely affect the health of this tree. So a number of reasons, really. Also, the sense of enclosure too. 165 will be terribly affected. 167 also. It will feel like we're living around a castle with tons of balconies looking down on us. That's the feeling I'm getting here. So I'm worried that we can't just, work towards what we're allowed to do and within reason, and we will live together. I welcome a new build there, but within reason. And, it is a unique living space. I think that's what the lady indicated in the beginning, but we all have our unique living spaces. That's it.
Right,
Thank you very
Turn off
much.
one of your devices, please, madam, because it's really difficult for the panel members. Or maybe you could wrap up your comment.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we've heard from any questions of the panel to the resident. Okay, seeing there are none, we've got go back to the applicant. Applicant, go ahead. You've got your rebuttal time, please. The applicant's still there?
Yeah, I was not unmuted. I'm going through the comment that they mentioned. First of all, the balcony and the patio is not in the variance. It's meeting the zoning bylaw. And the covered patio, it's permitted based on the zoning bylaw. Although we are proposing to cover the patio from the roof level, but there are precedent in the neighborhood that they have the covered patio at the first level. And usually the second, it's going to be a balcony off the second floor. And again, balcony is not in the zoning variance at all. The 4 square meter balcony is permitted based on the zoning bylaw too. The only thing that we are able to propose to give them the better peace of mind for their privacy is to suggest the privacy screen to the sides. And this is what we can offer. And regarding the hardscape, we are not having any variance based on the minimum landscaping and soft landscaping variance. We are meeting the, actually we are over what is permitted. And for the grading plan, definitely the grading plan and design would be submitted for the building permit stage, and it's going to be dealt with during the permit drawing with the engineering department. And again, they mentioned about the trees. Those trees that are going to be taken down are less than 30 centimeter. And are permitted by the urban forestry. As we spoke, as I said before, we have been in consultation with the urban forestry, and we involved the arborists from the very beginning of the procedure. I understand it's going to be a new construction, and even we wouldn't come here, and we wouldn't be here in front of you for the variances that we are requesting. 2-story is as of right of the building for this lot, and the length is not under question. The total height is not under question. As I explained, the main wall height, which is on the variance, it wouldn't be if we wanted to have some overhang, and we wouldn't have that variance at all. The only thing that is here is for the lot coverage, and the lot coverage is calculated differently. It's not for the mass of the building, which is meeting all the setbacks, and the length and the depth is for the area that has been calculated for the below that area that is calculated based on the zoning examiner that he looked at it. I'm happy if, to answer if there is any other question, but basically what they are pointing out, it's something that even if we were not here, they had to deal with the 2-story building that is going to be built over there anyway. And for reassuring 167 Joyce Street, the lady at 167 Joyce Street, there is no window on the north wall that facing their property. There is no window, and as you can see on the north elevation, there is no window proposed. And the limiting distance doesn't allow to have any window at all, and we don't want to have any window. That's it. The hardscaping privacy screen that I mentioned, and the covered patio. I know it's unusual to have it from off the roof, but this is the design. We shouldn't. Well, this is the creativity of the design. We can't follow everyone else. As long as it's permitted, it doesn't matter. It's on the main level or the second floor. And for the hardscaping, as I said again, we are respecting the even more than the landscaping area that is need to be there, and we are meeting whatever is required by the zoning. I'm happy to answer if there is any questions.
All right, thank you. I don't see any questions from the panel, so let's go into committee. In committee, anybody want to make a motion on this? Talk to that motion? Mr. Reed?
I'm happy to. I'm going to move a motion for approval, and I'll explain why. I understand why there's been pretty significant opposition in the neighborhood, because this is a very, very large house that's being proposed, and it's a lot bigger than what's right around it, and that is based on the size of the lot. largely, I think, but it's also reflecting the permissions in the zoning bylaw. And I think the zoning bylaw does consider and does support a building basically this size. The variances we're looking at are very small, and the incremental impacts of those will have very small impacts on the neighbors. The house as it is going to have impacts, but that's considered in the bylaw, and this is very, very minimal increase over what is permitted as of right. I was happy to hear that there are no windows to the north, because that overlook would be an issue. I think the applicant did take some consideration in that. And I mean, the applicant designed the building to have very few variances. I think on a building like this, you would expect there to be a lot more, but the applicant did take care to remain, for the majority, within the existing permissions of the zoning bylaw. So I think that's to be commended. As a condition of the approval, I would add that privacy screening for a minimum height of 1.5 meters be added on the north and south sides of the second floor rear balcony. And I would add the condition of urban forestry.
All right, so we've got a motion on the floor. It concludes the screening and urban forestry. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Got a seconder, Ms. Martin. Any comments, Ms. Martin? No comments. Okay, no comments. Any comments from the other panel members on this motion? All right, we'll put it to a vote. Those in favor?
I was looking a little bit more at the floor plans and like the actual size, and I think I think the size is reasonable for the type of use proposed. So I would.
Okay. So further comment in favor. Put it to a vote. Those in favor? 3 in favor. Those opposed? 1 opposed.
I'll vote. Actually, I'll be honest. I'm on the fence with this one. But given in light of the comments that I've heard from my other members, I'm inclined to feel that this meets the 4 tests. So I will support.
Okay. So it's unanimous panel. And that concludes our morning session. Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned.
Thank you, members. That concludes our morning session, and we will reconvene around 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. Thank you, everybody.